So he's absolutely benefiting from the presidency here financially. This is just on a whole nother scale. This would make Putin blush.
And I think the scale here is it's intentional. There's no question. I mean, we are seeing the greatest onslaught of corruption.
Hi everyone, JJ here. Welcome back. Well, you might know by now, you might have seen some headlines that President Trump has been profiting hugely while in office. It has been disclosed, so it's in plain sight. Does that make it any better that this is happening? I've seen some MAGA people, some Republicans, sort of trying to justify that this is okay. But I think this is not a left and right issue, really, and it is international, certainly goes international. Questioning here, should the president profit from investments? I mean, even some of them investments in inverted commas as well. We're going to get into exactly what they are. It's hard to keep up with. There's so much of it, and the scale of it is so much bigger than anything that Trump has criticized people for before. Let's hear what he said about that, actually, before we get into it.
Hillary Clinton has perfected the politics of personal profit.
As Vice President, Joe Biden flew his son Hunter around the world on Air Force Two, sucking up money like a vacuum cleaner.
For years, Trump and his family have slammed Hunter Biden, claiming he profited from his father's position. Now, Trump's family seems to be doing just that. Take, for example, Eric and Don Jr. So you see them standing right there behind the president. This was before boarding the new Air Force One. According to the New York Times, they now stand to profit from $1 billion mining deal between Trump and Kazakhstan.
So that's just one of the latest, the mining deal, but obviously it goes deeper than that. We've got Ben Meisler breaking it down.
One of the things we learned yesterday in more detail than we ever got before, because Trump had to produce his financial disclosures from 2025, is the extent of his grift. The number of financial side deals the Trump family is running is so shocking sometimes that it quite literally shocks your conscience and says, is this real? And it is.
Just remember about that, the criticism, the absolute criticism about Hunter Biden, the Biden family, from the Republican side, and really trying to justify what's going on here is just so much bigger. Such hypocrisy. I mean, hypocrisy is kind of built in these days. I think J.D. Vance talked about, the scandals. If it was Watergate, there would just be one day. And he was saying that Watergate didn't matter, but really it did matter. And the fact that there's a Watergate every day kind of thing, that people just can't keep up with it. And I think this is why this is too big to hide. So let's just come out and say it's okay. It's big. It's okay. But I think there are going to be some ramifications from this later on. There must be. There have to be. They're trying to normalize it, right?
So the Trump organization made about $2.29 billion in crypto schemes in 2025 alone, according to Donald Trump's 2025 disclosures, which were just released on June 30th of 2026. You know how investors did on those crypto schemes? Well, they lost $2.28 billion.
Okay, and that just looks like a classic pump and dump. We're going to have a look at what happened there and many other things. As I said, it's so big. There's so much of it. It's going to take a long time to get into it. We're just going to touch on some things here and some reaction to it.
When you actually look at Donald Trump's personal net worth increase from just the crypto schemes alone, Donald Trump extracted $1.1 billion added to his net worth. Liquid cash to Donald Trump divided as follows. $635.1 million Trump made off his meme coin royalties, $236.3 million for the World Liberty financial token sales, $196.9 million for sale of ownership interest in the US dollar one stablecoin venture, $65.6 million sale of part of Trump's stake in World Liberty Financial, $6 million for Melania Trump's NFT sales collectible business, $1.82 million for the Ethereum validator. By the way, Trump says, I'm the crypto president. I'm the Bitcoin president. Like, you all know that like crypto and Bitcoin has completely crashed under this Trump regime. By saying he's the crypto president, he means he's going to steal all of the money for himself and take all of the money for himself and leave everybody else holding the bag.
Yeah. Trump has come out and justified it, saying that the market's gone up. He's saying the stock market's gone up. That's why I've made so much money, and Americans have too. But it's clearly not the case with quite a lot of this, including the crypto. And talking about stocks, here it is. In the Financial Times, Donald Trump made up to $1.4 billion in stock purchases. It's not even profit in 2025. FT analysis shows a U.S. president declared more than 22,000 share transactions last year. Now, again, he came out and said that he invests his money with institutions and they do it for him, but his sons are involved, right, in all of this. And wouldn't be surprised if he talks every day about this in private. It's supposed to be a blind trust or similar. Donald Trump bought up to $1.4 billion in stocks last year, according to an FT analysis, boosting his personal holdings in a string of big U.S. companies while he moved markets from the White House. Now, there's legitimate criticism that both sides of politics do that. I'm sure you've seen stories about that of various politicians, insider trading. But this just goes well beyond. And some people have said, well, he's a billionaire. The trades are going to be bigger. The money's going to be bigger. But clearly, this is just such a massive corruption. And let's get into this. It breaks down what has actually happened to his net worth and what it's been invested in. It's quite a good breakdown here. Let's listen.
But in Trump 1.0, his net worth actually went down pretty substantially. A bit of that was COVID. But a lot was the fact that he put guardrails around the kinds of things they would do. They wouldn't do international deals and so on and so forth. And he actually was acting like a normal president. Then he
acting like a normal president. I mean, from some points of view, but not really. It's obvious. You can see that bar graph there. If you're just listening to this, it shoots up, and he's going to break down what's inside that massive amount of money that's been made during the second term, Trump 2.0. This has been different. This term has been different in many ways. It's almost like they're just going, let's just be as corrupt as possible. Let's do as much as we can, push as hard as we can. And maybe, well, being political about it, maybe we're going to push it towards authoritarianism and maybe we'll stay here for a third term. You know, that's been talked about as a joke, and that's how it happens. First it's a joke, then it becomes serious. They made the hats and all that, and this is part of it. You know, how far can we push this corruption?
He had his 4 years in the wilderness and not much happened. Now, 2 years into term two, look what happens. His net worth goes from $2.3 billion to $6.5 billion. All of this is crypto in one form or another. He has become the crypto king, even though during Trump 1.0, he was against crypto. He thought crypto was kind of a scam. So where did the money come from? He had $4 billion, he and his family, of profits. $3 billion of it came from crypto. And I will tell you, there are so many transactions here, so many structures. It made my head hurt even trying to understand it. But just to give you an example.
So it's like he decided that crypto was the thing that he was going to make the most money on after looking at it, after being against it, then going all in. And I just saw something that said he was the biggest profiter of crypto in the US last year, the biggest.
He took Trump Media, which is the company he started to create Truth Social, and it raised a bunch of money from investors, and he went out and bought a whole bunch of crypto with that. He sold meme coins. I'm going to talk more about this in a minute, but remember the dollar Trump, dollar Melania coins, all that contributed profit.
Okay, remember just days before he even went into office, he launched that Trump coin. I made a video about that at the time. I thought that was a massive red flag that he'd do that. It was like a warning sign that, yes, it's all on. We're going to make lots of money from this. Just days before, it was just jaw-dropping. There wasn't enough, I don't think, reporting about that. I was just amazed at what happened there, and the Melania coin, and just went on and on, and this is the result: billions made from it in a corrupt way.
So crypto all the way. Made some money from finance. This is Jared raising all of his money from the Middle East and the profits that are anticipated from it. And then there were also some benefits he got. For example, he raised the admission fee at Mar-a-Lago from $100,000 to $1 million. The money he took from the law firms and the other companies as part of his lawsuit campaign.
So he's absolutely benefiting from the presidency here, financially from the presidency. So what is going to happen about this? Is this just going to go by? Nothing's going to happen about this? I mean, it's just incredible stuff, really, looking at it from an international perspective, looking in. Seems like democracy breaking down. And yes, it had happened to a certain extent before this, the insider trading and the criticism of Hunter Biden. But this is just on a whole other scale. This would make Putin blush.
The Qatari jet. But crypto is really what dominates the $3 billion that he added to his net worth.
We're going to have a look at some commentary on this onslaught of corruption, Trump's ex-lawyer on his $1 billion plus disclosure. Well, we have much more than that. But before we get into that, if you're getting value out of this episode so far, I really would appreciate if you're watching on YouTube to hit that like button to help the algorithm to spread it to more people. This one might need a little bit more. You know, he got some money from lawsuits, from the results of the payouts of lawsuits from different media organizations, including one from YouTube, where, you know, he sues media organizations for this, that, and the other.
Now, this is according to an annual financial disclosure form that just came out, about 900 pages. So there's a lot in there. But
900 pages. That's just a phenomenal amount of disclosure for what's going on. 900 pages of this stuff.
Does include this. More than $526 million in income from World Liberty Financial, which is a crypto venture Trump co-founded with his son. So take a look at this chart by top economic analyst Steve Ratner. So what Steve did is put in blue how much money Trump's family has gained from crypto. That's the upper line there. In red, that's the line of how much investors have lost, about the same amount, more than $2 billion.
That seems like a rug pull, right? A classic pump and dump where, you know, that people in the know of his, you know, pull the rug as soon as it goes live, really. That's what it looked like. So there were insiders, friends of Trump, friends that he promised to, probably profited hugely, and then everybody else, the public, retail investors, just got absolutely fleeced in that, and Melania coin and all of it. So what I wanted to say about this actually is I think it's important to talk about this because it's the corruption that often brings down regimes, governments, authoritarian regimes, when the people realize that the government, the leader, is actually stealing, is profiting, and they're getting poorer because of it and getting ripped off. And so this is exactly why that the word needs to get out about this when people realize what's going on. And as I said, this is not left and right. I think there are people on the right who see what's going on here, are starting to see what's going on here. I think he's still got a support of like 30% or maybe less, you know, and I don't think that will probably change the hardcore supporters who don't really care what he does, maybe don't understand this about what he's doing here, but maybe more and more of those people even will realize what's going on.
Out front now, Ty Cobb. He is the former Trump White House lawyer. Ty, pretty interesting there when you look at that chart and how much Trump has made and how much everyone else has lost. What is your reaction to the scale of what we're seeing in this disclosure, of how much Trump is earning from these crypto ventures? Over $1 billion last year alone, right? This isn't a cumulative number. It's in 1 year. An industry he's actively promoted and supported and done policy and executive orders related to. Is it legal?
I don't believe so. Certainly, I don't think it was contemplated by the founders when they created the Emoluments Clause. I do think that one of the line items, of course, is the commemorative coins. You know, several $100 million of income related to those coins. How can that be anything other than trading on his image and likeness in violation of the Emoluments Clause? With regard to the crypto, obviously that's, you know, it's a slimy industry. You know, certainly the way he's going around it, where he creates policies that can only enrich himself and his family, is something that I think the average American should be staggered by.
Isn't it suspicious that he suddenly was all in on it, really realized that money could be made from it, and then not as much regulation around it, and he has basically ripped off the people who bought into that, and he went to that conference, I think it was the Bitcoin conference, where people were cheering him on, and he went all in on that, and I think that's when it's about the time he starts to realize maybe his sons, you know, had a word to him that money could be made out of this, and look what's happened.
But you mentioned the scale, and I think the scale here is just it's intentional. There's no question. I mean, we are seeing the greatest onslaught of corruption in the history of mankind in the last 18 months. We have the $1.8 billion that he and Todd Blanche tried to take from the American taxpayers through the phony settlement of a contrived controversy with which he was going to pay off his friends.
It's just incredible the level of corruption here, as that guy said. Is it unprecedented? Because we don't know what Putin's been up to when the Soviet Union crashed, and then later Putin went in there. And there's a cabal of oligarchs and obviously being profiting from that. Putin did, and select group of his billionaires. Is the US starting to look like that? And we've got Elon Musk donating $277 million to Trump. He's been very quiet on this. Haven't seen Elon saying anything about this. He rails about his political opponents and people in society he doesn't like, but he doesn't say anything about this. Fancy that.
This is somebody who every day is devoted to the accumulation of wealth and power.
Yep, that seems about right. I think we've seen enough. Let me know what you think about this, whether you're on the left or right of politics. I think there's more viewers here probably on the left, but if you are on the right, I mean, what do you think about this? Are you willing to justify what's going on here? It's in plain sight. Yes, it's disclosed, but as I said, it's just so big. You'd have to disclose it and stand in front of cameras and pretend to justify it, saying that the market went up. It's clearly more than that. There's the mining deals, and Sun's involved. Jared Kushner making deals in the Middle East for billions. I mean, it's just amazing. Just let me know what you think about this. I really would be interested to know in the comments. Right now, I'm going to put a related link on screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, a related video, do go and see that now if you want to, and a subscribe link as well, and follow on Spotify to get podcasts in your podcast feed there. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.